What's going on YouTube? This is your boy Lago one half of Enduro, and basically I just saw a video a while ago, so I just made a video about it too, because it's just weird how revision history just there's a reason why a lot of young people don't know a lot of things and this is like in real world kind of setup as well too, because the people that listen to a lot that are more popular or whatever always try to rewrite history in some weird way. But I know they didn't mean it maliciously, but I was surprised. I listened to the whole video. It's like, really, not one mention. You mentioned one in a kind of negative way, then you ain't did it at all. So what I'm talking about is there's a YouTube channel called Gameranx. I like most of their videos. I'm not really negative against them per se. You got hits and misses, but they're not like one of the overhead people who just do this for spite. But they do have some good, interesting videos that I do like. So they did a video called Backwards Capability, and in the video they're like, why there's no backwards capability? I'm like, and then they go through history between Xbox and PlayStation and talking about gamers want to do this and we don't gamers want to that the companies don't see it's feasible to have backwards capability and stuff like that. Well, the answer was up front when I watched the video, and I was like, he's like, why does companies don't want gamers backwards capability? I'm like, it's because gamers are the reason why they don't pursue it. And it's weird that they went to this whole rigmarole. Now some of it has put in the history, some of it has an aspect, but it was gamers who basically don't want it. Again, look at what's going on right now. A lot of gamers don't want, the consoles are forcing gamers not to have physical disc, as we have now with Xbox One X or S, whatever it is. People call it the SAD. They don't want capability in that. They don't want, physical disc in that. I should say, sorry. They don't want disc in that. So that's one, because gamers don't want to buy or keep some of the games, most of the newer gamers. So the old gamers now have it like, oh, well, we're destroying history, blah, blah, blah. Well, if you buy the console and take care of them in the first place, then you won't have to worry about that problem, but some don't. So it's funny how y'all make your own problems. But it was weird for Gameranx to talk about PlayStation, talk about Xbox. I never really talked about Nintendo, which is weird. And again, the answer still is gamers, because we see what happened with the Switch, between the Switch and the Wii U, and how people was doing that stupid thing. But it was just weird to see that. Nobody really, not a Nintendo of Gameranx, not one. That was weird. The Game Boy, then the Game Boy Color, then the Game Boy Advance, then the Game Boy SP, then the Game Boy DS, then the DS, then the DS Lite, then the 3DS, and the 3DS XL. Like, Nintendo been doing backwards capability. You had we had a Nintendo to the Super Nintendo, didn't have it, and that was one of the complaints back then. I understand that. Same thing with Genesis, Master System to Genesis. That was a problem then as well too. People was like, oh, why should we pay that money back then? Maybe back in the 90s, we were like, parents and stuff, and there's video of this. Parents like, why do we, just because it's super, why can't we play the old games? People making legitimate complaints back then. I get it. Because we were more conscientious of our money back then as well too, as a nation. I'm talking about America. But then PlayStation, Super Nintendo, 64, and Saturn, and people was like, well, we don't want these. It was going to disc, so the format presented itself in a certain way. Of course, again, the cartridges were the same. You could do the same thing with the cartridges, of course. But then came GameCube, PlayStation 2, Dreamcast, and Xbox One. Now PlayStation 2, PlayStation 1 games as a console thing. That was cool, and I give tops off for that. But then 3 didn't work over to 2. Nintendo went Wii to GameCube. Then GameCube to with the GameCube, then the Wii U to the Wii, and then it's funny how, remember, that was a feature that was in the Wii U, but a lot of people didn't want to champion it. And then, if you remember back when it first started, the 7th generation, people were like, we don't need backwards capability. Sony and PlayStation, Sony and Xbox fans were saying that. I remember in that E3 or that year 2013 and stuff. They didn't want a backwards capability. They just wanted a more powerful hardware to play the most power intense graphics and blah blah blah. So that's what they asked for it. That's what it got. And then when it didn't get a drought of games, no games coming through, it was just like trickle. Then what happened? Sony and Xbox, 2 to 3 years prospectively later, they put backwards capability. But the Wii U had it from the get-go, from the start, from the jump. But Switch coming along, Nintendo fans started playing that stupid thing as well too. Of, we want power, we want power, we don't want this, that, whatever. Okay, and again, don't forget, I did videos about how these guys didn't also wanted the virtual console because we're getting tired of buying the games over and over again. Well, fast forward, now people bitching, we want a virtual console, and we don't. Why they got no kind of style of backwards capability because of the cartridge and all that stuff. Like, it was the fans that destroyed backwards capability. Now, PlayStation 5 have backwards capability. I hope it does, because it'll be cool to have some of the games and play it and all that stuff. But if it don't, it's the fans' Gameranx that destroy, not the companies. Yes, if they don't see money into it, they're not gonna put it in the system. Granted, that is true, but it was the fans, because they're so fickle, is who destroyed backwards capability. The reason why the virtual console for Nintendo is the way it is because the fans, once again. You try to react and try to predict what fans want, but sometimes, holy crap, you don't get it. So, but it was kind of weird that you omitted Nintendo out of that whole thing, where they're the ones who kind of really, made it more mainstream with the handhelds, and then they for a while, they did it for 4 console generations, and then, got kicked to the curb. Oh well. Like I said, it's kind of weird how that happened. The reason why gaming is becoming what it is, I said it before, I'll say it again, soulless, and the games just feel like, is because of the fans. More fans don't want personal interaction. They want online. They want digital games, so they don't have to do physical, the physical stuff. They want more microtransactions, not knowing that, because I know a lot of people are like, oh, well, it's just microtransactions. If you don't like it, you don't gotta pay. Yeah, and I get that part, but the negative part about it is if the game developers or the publishers forces the game developers to make the game a certain way, it loses its soul. It doesn't have that panache. It doesn't have that snap that make you feel like the developer put his soul, his or her soul into the game, that the game is at what they wanted it, or at the vision they wanted it, because sometimes putting the money and all the stuff in it just makes the game feel just feel like it's by numbers. Just like how right now BioWare feels that Anthem, they themselves say Anthem doesn't feel right. They themselves doesn't feel right. So it's just messed up. That's how the situation is. But it's the gamers who destroy their own hobby. And the reason backward capability is not in most consoles is because of gamers. Again, if PlayStation has it, that'll be cool. If PlayStation don't have it, it'll be a miss error. And then for the PC Masters, I was like, well, we need to have emulation so we get all these games. We have a little emulation so we can have all these games. Yeah, you mean pirate all the freaking games, whatever. Again, no. And at the end they were like, oh, we need to have this. What do you call it? They said they needed Netflix of gaming and stuff, subscription based and everything. Yeah, that'll be quickly pirated as hell as well too, because of that. But whoever bring up with it, come up with the idea for it. Go ahead and have it. Have fun with it. Literally, like I said, I'm literally packing up my stuff from the old house, and I might do a live stream. It'll be a long live stream, but it might be a significant live stream. Me going through a lot of the games, cause man, I got so much physical games, and I'm gonna display them in a certain way, of course, in the new house. But it is ridiculous. But with that said, I answered the question. What up, Sprite? Sees Gameranx or Gameranx? I don't know. I just put up the tag. I'll change it later on. But anyway, hope you guys have a nice day. Remember, there's no perfect games out there. What's perfect to you is not perfect. Perfect to me is not perfect to you. Simply enjoy your games on all consoles, even PC. Peace out.